Well, our annual skee ball took place this past Friday, and although COVID kept us from doing an in-person one last year, which would have been our 50th, this was our 50th, and we'll actually tally the numbers this evening, but it was hugely successful, not just for the awards that we gave out, the Mountain of Honors, Dale Pearson and Lee Sevenson, and Richard Rokos got a chance to say thank you to all the people that had been supporting him and his program over the last 31 years. And at the end of the day, the money that we raised quite possibly could have been twice as much as our very best skee ball in history. So we'll tally those numbers tonight, but it was awesome, and so glad that we got it done in time because the team will be skiing this Saturday in Copper. It's time to transition to snow, so we're excited for the next step. We're off to a good start.
So what's the challenge of replacing a legend while at the same time, I'm sure, trying to put your own stamp on the program?
I'm not sure I've come across many challenges quite yet, to be honest. It's been more of a breath of fresh air here to be at CU and to see all the support. I'm spending most of my time trying to learn the history of this program and learn from some of those mistakes that have been made in the past. Spent a lot of time with Richie. He's actually signed on to be our volunteer assistant coach for this coming season. So he's out at training. He's with us almost all the time, and we're excited to charge forward, use his expertise, use the experience that he has over the years, trying to make this program better. But challenges, I haven't come across too many yet. It's a good program. It's been run well for a long time.
Just generally, how would you describe your coaching style, and what do you look for in your skiers?
I think my coaching style is probably a little bit more technical than most other coaches. I think I was raised by a lot of coaches that instilled that in me, instilled the basic movements and those patterns, and spent a lot of time trying to show the importance of those. And at the end of the day, those are the movements and the patterns that we need to kind of instill in these athletes. They've come with a lot of great skill sets from their younger programs, and now if we can put those all together, along with the fact that they've become so bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, I think we'll be in good shape. But I think my coaching style kind of breaks down the fundamentals more than anything, and hopefully I can instill that with the athletes. We had a chalk talk this morning that I'm hopeful will translate onto the first days of snow this week.
I know one of the most important things that Richard created here was keeping the Alpine and the Nordic teams together in all of their trainings. Is that something that you're continuing, and why do you think that that's so important here that we don't really see in other programs?
I think when we look at our sport, we're an individual sport in all respects of all other levels until college, and college does then combine for the first time and the only time a team score between men and women, Alpine and Nordic. So I think Richard's right on with the fact that that's got to be stressed. It's got to be shown as an importance and celebrated and practiced as long and as often as possible. We had a number of the same team building activities that we'd done in the past. We did an orienteering day out at Richard Rokos' house. We did the Green Mountain time trial this past weekend on top of the Buff Classic bicycle ride. We took the entire team and went and rode bikes up to the top of Rollins Pass. So we've done as many of those activities as possible to just get them familiar. They all know each other, but I think at the end of the day, when you crunch the scores of the NCAA championship, the winner usually separates themselves by about one place by every person in every race. So if all of our athletes can be only one place faster, that's about what it takes to win a title. So showing your support for the other guys may push them to just that one more place when it comes to matter.
With Magnus back, first of all, just how valuable is he to your team? And second, is it a challenge to push him to get even better when he's already the National Skier of the Year, has won all these awards?
That's hard for me to speak of. He's training with the Nordic team, so I don't see him near as often as I'd like to, but he just seems like a regular athlete on our team. You wouldn't know that he's had the success that he had this last year and that he's maybe in the shape he is, because he just shows up, he puts on a smile, and he goes to work. We see him in and out of the ski building. You wouldn't know anything different between him and a walk-on. So I think he's not showing that confidence that maybe you would think from somebody that has had that success, but for sure it's going to play out when they get on the snow. If somebody even comes close to him, they're going to feel pretty good about their time and the shape that they're in. So I'm looking forward to seeing it in competitions, but so far training, haven't quite had the chance.
How important would you say the conditioning aspect of your sport is? Because to me, just having skied myself, 30 minutes, I'm starting to feel it, I can only imagine at that level, conditioning would probably play a huge part, and also for injury prevention, because, those guys are going down they're doing some incredible things, both men and women. Can you talk to me about, there's kind of a danger aspect to it as well. So where are you at with as far as the injuries go and how you prevent them through training and how you condition the athletes so they can perform their best on ski day?
For sure the conditioning is a huge part of our sport. And I think if you really look at the level of the best college skiers, they're training year-round. When they finished here in May, it wasn't a finishing. They were in the middle of a progression, strength and power and endurance, a little bit more aerobic during that time of the year, and it'll transition more towards an explosive anaerobic by this time of the year. But there's really no time off. These athletes have had a plan for their skiing and their conditioning throughout the whole summer. None of them have taken the time off, so they're showing up here at school not unprepared for the weight room. It was as if they lifted back at home the day before they hopped on the plane and got here. So there isn't a break in our sport, not at this level. And the athletes are showing up here ready to go. And getting on snow this next week is more or less a transition into the ski shape that you look for in the year versus the weight room shape. But we'll still be in the weight room a day or two a week as we go through the fall, and about a day or two a week as we go through the winter. But conditioning, it's a year-round thing. There's no time off at this level. And as far as the injuries, we've had a couple, unfortunately. There have been, lost a shoulder here and there. Some guys have dislocated a shoulder. We've had some shin splints and rolled ankles, but most of those things are being taken care of and monitored and helped with our training staff. And I fully expect that we'll get on snow, we'll be healthy and ready to fire by the time, January comes for our first invitationals, and hopefully we can keep that through to the championship. But as you say, warming up and loosening those soft tissue muscles before we get going, that's important every single day. So when we drive out of the ski building at 6 a.m. and we're at the top of Eldora at 6:40, those athletes are then running around the parking lot with bands and tying those to the vans and jumping back and forth, plyometrics, core exercises before they even get on snow. So it's game time once that lift starts running for them. And we have to do our best to limit those injuries. Those are the killers, and they're pretty inherent in our sport regardless of your shape or your preparation. It just happens, so knock on wood.
It's incredible.
All right. Coach, when you were first introduced, I think we talked about, because of the tight ski community, you already knew a lot of these athletes. So I'm curious, as you've gone through it now, how much do you feel like that's helped as you've gone through this process of the transition? And how much have you enjoyed kind of furthering that and get to know them even better?
Yeah, I knew most of them before, but I think the relationship just started over completely with all of them. Some of them I turned down to go to DU for different reasons, that maybe the school was a better fit or I had somebody else as a better fit at Denver. But I think our relationships started completely over after the press conference that I had with you. Here it was meeting every one of the athletes and spending a couple hours getting to know them, and different from the time when I'm recruiting an athlete and I'm giving them an offer to come here. I explained to most of them I've inherited them. They were given this decision to join the program by somebody else, and I want to live up to that commitment that Colorado had made to them, but at the same time, it's got to be about a relationship that I have with them. So very individual, very personal, and something that I've really enjoyed doing from a different standpoint than I ever had before, where those conversations happened before I made the offer. Now they're from an inherited factor, which has been fun too. So I think it's been positive for them, and I think it's been positive for my side to do it both ways. But yeah, we're in good shape. We're ready to go, and we have a couple more athletes that will likely be joining us in January.
Do you have any of your athletes training for Beijing right now? And if so, what's the challenge of training during Olympic season?
There are a couple that are going to be in Beijing, I believe. We've got one girl that's Polish on our team, an incoming freshman. She's actually over in Seoul in Austria right now, training for the opening World Cup there this next weekend. She's likely to go. She was racing in the World Championships last year. And then we've got a couple athletes that took this year off from CU, Cassidy Gray and Steph Fleck, that are back with their national team in Canada, hopeful to race in Beijing. Current athletes like Philip Forchek is hopeful to make his appearance there. We'll see if some of the Nordic athletes can make it. Veronica Coletta took an extra class over the summer to get some extra training here in the fall, and hopefully she can show up there, maybe Magnus. But we'll see. It's a little ways away, but for sure we're aware of all of the criteria for all of the national teams, and hopeful they can punch it through. That the Olympics in Beijing fit really well into our collegiate schedule. They wouldn't miss very many races. They could qualify for the championship before Beijing, go to Beijing, and return to CU and compete with us at the championship. So fingers crossed we have that type of success. I believe there will be a number of them that make it, but hopefully hopefully we can progress more towards medals than just making it in the years to come.
Pretty simple and general question. So you're going to Copper this weekend. What do the snowpack conditions look like up there, and how much snow did they get throughout the week?
Not aware of that. If they say open, I'm hoping for just like 4 or 5 inches of ice. That's about all we're looking for. So if it's anything more than that or softer than that, we'll hopefully pack it down. But they've had some great snow conditions. Obviously last week it was real cold, and they were able to blow snow, and hopefully they blew it as thin and as wet as possible, because we just don't need that much. We need a sheet of ice fast and as hard as it can get, and if we can stick a gate into the ground without hitting dirt, then more the merrier. But getting going this weekend will be, it'll be nice to get out there, and I think it's likely only the very, very top of Copperopolis, so we'll have to upload the Super B, ski up at the top, and then download the Super B back to the bottom, because I don't think they're skiing top to bottom. So we're excited to get out there. We'll be staying there on Saturday night, and with the proceeds from the skee ball that was so successful, it should allow us to do this weekend after weekend into the opening NORAMs November 16th through 20. So we're excited for this. We're going to have some success early season, hopefully. It's nice when we get going here this early, and even Eldora was, hate to put this on the news, but Eldora was hoping to try and open weeks before they normally would. So we'll see if the conditions continue to stay cold up there and they're able to blow snow, and hopefully we can get up there. I don't want to give an early start date for Eldora and change around what they're doing on the news, but hopefully it happens.
Anything else for Andy? All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.